Hello, everyone. I'm North Hempstead Town Supervisor Judy Bosworth. In response to the COVID-19 pandemic, we have embarked on creating a virtual exercise series for our senior residents. We partnered with our Project Independence fitness instructors to host these virtual classes, which will allow you to stay fit and healthy by participating from the safety of your home. Please enjoy.
How is everybody feeling? I'm going on a fitness today. Today I'm gonna specifically work on shoulders. So we're gonna do a lot of movements specifically for the shoulders. So just simply to start, we're gonna lift the arms, shoulders up, roll the palms out and come down. And just do that a couple of times. So I'm actually doing several movements for the shoulders. Just to loosen up the shoulders. I'll get into specifically what I'm doing. It's be something that we want to do with our shoulders and not do. Specifically what we're doing is we're lifting our shoulders up, but we want to keep the shoulders down. A lot of people walk around, maybe not like this, but maybe they're here and not here, creating stress not only in the shoulders, but the neck. The other movement I'm doing is I'm rotating my arms around, in and around like this. Internal and external rotation. Internal, external. The other movement that you may not have noticed too well is I'm pinching my shoulder blades together and then spreading them apart. So we put all three of these movements together. And we'll do this again more towards the end. And then we'll just do some other movements now for the shoulders. I'm going to take the arms a little back behind me. I'll turn to the side so you can see. My arms are coming back as far as you can comfortably, and then taking the arms up. A basic movement of the arms, which is part of the shoulder. And I'm going to add another movement. I take my arms around and up. It sounds like it's the same thing. It's like I start here and wind up here, but it's different muscles and a whole different function. Then we'll get into some other movements that are maybe not quite as often. I'm going to take my arm and circle it over and then the other arm over. Almost like you're swimming, but not really like swimming, but it's a circling motion. In fact, they call it circumduction. And then I'm going to circle the opposite way, like I'm doing a backstroke, just a little bit more like swimming. Just to get the movement in the muscles, and then we'll start to add more onto this. Okay, another movement that it's a little harder to understand, but I'm going to take my arms out. I'm going to reach my arms away and back in. I'm not moving at the elbow. My elbow stays in the same position. It's my shoulder blades coming apart and then together. And we'll do one more movement that I like. It really makes my shoulders feel good. I'm going to turn my arms out to the side, palms up to the ceiling. I'm going to bring my hands onto the shoulders, and then I'm just going to circle the arms around. You'll see when you first start doing this, your shoulders may make a lot of noise. My shoulder's making some noise now too. But over time, with use, it just lubricates up the shoulders and they'll start to be quieter, they'll be more mobile. And let's go and circle the other way. You know, our bodies are, in general, are meant to move. We tend to sit still and not do anything. Everything starts to tighten up and get rigid. Okay. All right, we're gonna take, again, the same movement that we've done already, just a little different. I'm gonna take the arms out to the side, rotate my palms up and down. This is all movements that basically I'm using my body weight as a resistance. And I'm going to take my arms to the center, same thing. So mostly the arms, we have to really, the body is like a network. Everything works together. So we're going to start to use the legs a little bit too, and the arms. I'm going to do like a march in, or even let's start with a walk in place. I haven't talked about breathing. We want to, whatever you do, you want to keep your breath full as possible. No point do you ever want to hold your breath, particularly during exercise. When you exercise and you hold the breath, you put a lot of stress into the heart. Yes, a lot of people do that because things get hard and people tend to rigid up and want to push, and it's something that we got to avoid. So I'm going to slow it down, which is something, a whole nother thing. When we're going to go through a lot of exercises, and everybody has a different level of how they're going to feel today. So if you're feeling tired at any point, just start walking in place and maybe stop and get a drink of water. And then if you're still not feeling well, sit down. So I'm going to start to move the legs a little bit more. I'm going to come into lunges. So I'm just going to step my right leg forward. I bend the knee so it's over the ankle. And I step back. Other side. I'm just alternating side to side. We did this before. And if you feel like you're off balance, you can't, you feel like you're going to be unsteady and you might fall, hold a chair. And you could do one leg at a time, or you can stand behind the chair and step forward, hold the chair, and then bend the knee. Going to make this a little bit more challenging. As I'm going to do this, I'm going to take my arms around and up on the other side. But of course, if you're unstable, if you feel this is a little too much for your balance, then keep the hand on the chair or something to steady yourself. And if you're feeling good, if you're feeling like this is too easy, you can go faster. And I will add some more difficulty to this for people that want more, but for now I'm just going to come back to walking in place. And breathing, I'm slowly winding up my intensity level. You want to spend between 5 and 10 minutes getting the body warmed up. So we're going to add another type of lunge. It's a side lunge. I'm going to go from side to side. I'm going to step out with one leg. I bend the knee and I come back up. If you're finding this unstable, you can have a chair in front of you, or maybe put your hand on the leg to help steady yourself. If you're feeling good, you could take your arms up again. And if you want to make this more challenging, you can go faster with it. If you find it too much, you can slow down and do less speed. And do a little more. We should be almost warming up. Some people warm up faster. They may already feel like they've done enough to warm up with. Yeah, it's hard to tell. I generally go on how you feel based on a scale of 1 to 10. If you're feeling like you're at level 7, 8, or 9, slow it down. If you feel you're at level 2 or 3, then speed it up. I'm gonna walk in place. So for people that want more, they feel like they're not at that high level yet, go a little more. Other people may want to take a little pause before we start to move on. Again, moving on to working on the shoulders. So I do my warm up first, then I stretch at the end. So I'm going to use some weights. Starting off really pretty much what I did before, but this time I have weights. I take the arms up and rolling around. If you feel like you haven't warmed up enough yet, then maybe hold off on doing the weights at this time. Then we're going to go through some of the basic movements on our arms. Bending and moving the elbow. So I'm going to take my arms and I'm going to bend the elbow. I'll start with one arm at a time. Notice how my arm turns. I turn my palm to face up, bring the hand up towards my shoulder, bending the elbow. It's called a curl, a bicep curl to be specific. As there's other types of curls, but that's for another time. Again, you can go faster or slower. If it's too easy, the easiest way to go harder is to use heavier weight. Conversely, if you find it's too hard, go with a lighter weight or no weight. It's best to start with a light weight. You could always add more. If you started with a heavy weight and you do too much, you can't undo that. So we're going to do 2 more on each side. And I'm going to come back and walk. And I'm going to go to the opposite of a bicep curl. It's called a tricep extension. A little bit of anatomy. The bicep is the muscle in the front here. The tricep is this muscle in the back. So I'm going to do both arms at the same time. I'm going to take my arms up. I want to bring my arms alongside my head. I'm going to straighten the arms and then bend them. A couple of things to notice. You want to keep the posture. The common thing is for the back to arch. You want to tuck your ribs into your abdominal area. The other thing is the head wants to push forward. Keep your head back. Because I tell people to bring their arms alongside their ears. What a lot of people do is their arms drop, so they bring their head alongside their arm, which is the opposite, which is not really good for the neck. And I want to try to do some things to help our neck and shoulder area. Like I said, at the end, we'll do some stretchings after the arms are nice and warmed up, okay? You can do a few more. I'm going to go back to this rolling of my arms like this. So if you're feeling like this was too much, you can come here and join me doing this. Some people may want to do a little more. And I'll put these away for a little while, and I'm going to go back to doing some more things, more exercises for the legs. They are our biggest muscle group. And this specifically is maybe, well, it's my favorite, but it really works most muscles in the body, and particularly the biggest muscles, squats. So I'm making my feet about hip width apart. I'm going to bring my hips back. My knees stay right over the ankles. To help myself balance, I take my arms up. Because the biggest part of my body, my hips, is going back. So the tendency is to fall back. So to help counter that, my arms come forward. I'm turning to the side again so you can see how my hips are coming back here. It's like I have an imaginary chair there. And I come back up. Yeah, this works just about all the muscles in the legs, into the hips, even into your abdominals. See how I'm falling forward? I need to engage my muscles here in my front of my spine to help me maintain the balance. So again, we'll do a few of these. And then I'm going to take a break. Some people are going to want to do more. Like I said, the easiest way to make this harder is to do with weights. And we will do that a little later. So for me, I'm just going to, and anybody who wants to join, you could just gently walk in place. For some people that want more, yeah, do more squats. If you're in the middle, instead of walking in place, you can start to march in place. I like to work shoulders. The shoulders are very interesting because they got a lot of movements, a lot of different muscles involved. A lot of small muscles, which is good because that all helps to stabilize this delicate area, but the muscles have to be slowly strengthened. So I'm going to slow it down as I'm going to get into exercises that are a little bit, can be difficult for people, particularly if you had a shoulder injury. So if you had an injury and this hurts, either stop or do it without weight. So I'm just going to take my arms out to the side. We did this already, shoulder height, and lower down. So there's these muscles that surround our arm where it goes into the shoulder. I'm going to add the weight. And by strengthening, there's the muscle on the side, specifically that we're working now. There's a muscle in the front of the shoulder. And there are muscles in the back too. These are the muscles in the shoulder. If anybody ever watches basketball, you see the basketball players, they got these big muscles around their shoulders. That's from, there you go, doing a lot of taking a lot of shots, holding your arms up. A lot of work. So yeah, gets tiring. If you feeling this is getting tiring, yeah, join me and we'll take a little break again. Just doing this shoulder rolls. Then I'll move into the front muscle of the arm, which is pretty much the same movement, only I got to take the arm straight up in front. Again, if this hurts or if this is discomforting, do it without weight. And if any of these things are still uncomfortable without weight, yeah, you may want to go talk to a medical professional. So these are the front and side. They're a little easier to exercise. That's why I'm doing them first, to help stabilize the shoulder before we get to the more difficult one. They're all needed. In fact, the last one is maybe the most important. as it not only affects the shoulder, it affects the whole posture of our upper body. And I'm going to, again, come into my shoulder rolls and just rolling. And so if you want to do more, you're welcome to do some more of these. Others that feel like they had enough, they may want to put the weights down even and do this. So the last one is, like I said, it was a little bit harder to do. It's kind of like doing a squat and also doing the muscles that we kind of did before. So I'm going to fold over. I'm going to do a squat. I'm going to bring my ribs down on top of my thighs. So if you need a chair, you can do this in a chair. Of course, if you have arms on the chair, it wouldn't quite work too good. But I'm taking the arms here, and I'm going to take the arms out to the side and lower down. I'm keeping my abdominal area, my belly firming in to help stabilize the lower back. Not so hard for me right now with the lighter weight, but if you use heavier weight, you can be putting stress into your back. It's called a reverse fly. And again, you know, if you could even use a band on this, but weights, I don't know, weights are like the next level up. I'm gonna come up again. I'm just gonna roll my arms. You're welcome, again, I'm doing this, you're welcome to do more. If you feel like it's too much, yeah, you're ready to take a break, and that's fine too. No, doing what's appropriate for you. I can't see what you're doing. Unfortunately, I can't see that. So I'm asking you to be honest with yourself. And if you're finding it's difficult, then take a break. And you can always join back in. I'll put my weights aside for a little while as we'll do more with the legs. So I'll start off again just doing the walking. And we'll go back into squats, we're going to add on a little bit more to the squat. But I just want to right now get the legs warmed up again. We're mostly using our shoulders. So again, I want you to really be honest with yourself. If you have to even have a mirror on the side to see how your posture is. So I'm coming back to the squats. I'm going to make a little different of a squat. Instead of my feet hip distance apart, I'll take them a little further. But again, my hips are coming back, and not the knees coming forward. My knees stay right over the ankle. So as I start to go lower, I'll start to take my arms out to help balance. As we are going to add on to this, it's always like to have like one exercise that's going to help put together all of what we're doing so far in this class. So a lot of people that are very serious, like the weightlifting, they'll consider this squat the most important exercise. Pretty much works most of the muscles, like I had said in the beginning. So if you're short for time and you're just looking for something to get a quick exercise in, and it does it fast, as you can see. I'm going to come back to walking. You can do, again, you're welcome to do more. You're welcome to do less. So as we're coming into the middle, we're going to come to the probably the most difficult part of all this. I'm gonna use the weights again. And it's called a shoulder press. So I take the arms up here. My palms are facing away from me, and I simply just straighten the elbows and slowly lower down. We'll take a little bit of a break from the weights just to get some other exercise, other movements. So I like to use as many movements as possible every day, and it's not as easy as it sounds. As the body can move a lot of different ways, and lower down. So now your shoulders should start to feel a little bit of heat. Hopefully not to the point of fatigue, because we're going to be doing that again with a lot more. I'll just put the weights aside just for a moment. Some people may be a little more athletic and want to do it with weights. Just be careful when you move with weights. So I'm going to go back to the lunge with a twist. So I'm going to step forward and I'm going to turn. Press my opposite arm forward. So I'm stepping with my left leg, my right arm goes. So it's a little bit of twisting from the midsection, my waist. I turn from my waist, then I turn my ribs, and maybe even at the end, I turn from the shoulders. It's rotation, rotating our spine. So you're welcome to pick the pace up and go a little faster with it. If you feel like you're getting lightheaded, you can slow it down. If you're feeling really bad, you can do it without weight. Or you could just stop altogether. Just slowly take it down. That's the only thing I ask. You don't want to be at a point where you can't breathe at all and then just all of a sudden lay down. I'm going to do a couple more on each side, so you're welcome to go faster, slower, or even stop. So one more on each side. I'm just going to walk in place. Yeah, just let things calm down a little bit. Just walking may increase this a little bit too. Because just a simple move like this can become a bit of a challenge too. It depends how fast you're doing this. So I'm going to slow it down and go back to the weights. So we're going to do the shoulder presses again, along with the squat. I'm going to make my feet about hip width apart. My belly's drawn in. I'm going to add the shoulder press to this, which creates an exercise they call a front squat. And I take my arms up, shoulder height, my palms face away. I set my hips back. I take the arms up, and I return. So again, if you want to make this harder, you can add weight to it. You want to make it easy, or you do it without weight. Another way to make it harder is to bring your hips lower. The general rule with that is you don't want your hips to come below the knee, as you put a lot of stress onto the knee doing that. I'm just doing a few of these. If you're on your own, you want to do a lot more, you're feeling this feels good, go ahead. I'm gonna come back to my walking. Just the thing to caution there, if you're used to doing it, yeah, you want to do more, but if you're new to this, and maybe just back it off a little bit, as we're going to go to more difficult, but without weight. I'm just going to circle my arms again, keep my shoulders moving. I want to keep my body warm before we move into the stretching. I'll put the weights away. And I'm going to come back to walking. A great all-round exercise recommended for everybody. But as I'm going to move into marching, I'm going to make this more challenging. So I'm going to more of a faster walk, and then I'm going to go to a march. Everyone, if this is getting strenuous, back it off. I'm going to make it different. I'm going to take my arm up and touch to my elbow. Opposite arm, opposite leg. Again, I'm doing a little bit of rotation. I'm turning my torso to the side. You may see people go really fast with this, which you're welcome to. But we're going to add something different. So you're welcome to go fast, and then we're going to slow down. We're actually going to try to stop this in a mid movement. So first let's everybody walk it out and just watch first. Let my breath calm, and I'm going to take my right arm up, and I'm going to touch the outside of my left leg, and I turn to the side. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Take my left arm up, holding the outside of the right leg, and turning. Yeah, that's where the balance becomes a little more challenged. This is our balance for the day. Yeah, this is much harder. And slowing down even more. And I'm trying to actually stop. Ooh. Funny how it's easier to balance when you're moving. Okay. So we'll come back to walking out as we'll start to move into the stretching. You're welcome to use a chair for some of this, but for first, we're just going to start like we did. I'm just going to step out to the side, and I'm just going to hold this as I'm stretching my inner thigh. Coming up, coming back to center. I'm going to stretch, go to the other side. Stretching not only the back of the leg, a little bit into the inside. Coming up. Okay, moving a little bit more challenging. We're going to stretch the back of the legs. So I'm going to take a step back, and I straighten my right leg. I keep my hands on the left leg. coming center. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And I straighten the left leg. Keep my hands on the right. Coming up. Okay. Yes, if you're finding that to be challenging, you may want to sit down. We'll start off somewhat easy. We're going to go into the lunge. I step forward. I'm going to bend my back leg like I want to touch the leg down. You can do this, like I say, if this is tough, do this sitting on a chair. I'm coming slowly into a low lunge. Yeah, so this can be hard if you're not used to this. Using a chair makes this a lot easier. Very important, I'm stretching the front of my leg. Coming up. Yeah, this is the important place to stretch. This is very difficult place. It gets very tight here because all the walking we're doing is tensing up this muscle. So I want to stretch this. So I'm going to do this in a couple of ways. It's called a low lunge. Yeah, you could be sitting in a chair and doing this, and it's definitely easier than doing this. The next one is much harder, and if you need, you can hold on again. Up, back to center. I'm going to bend my left knee. I'm going to stand just on the right leg. So again, you could hold a chair, the wall, whatever you hold, make sure it's stable. Don't hold on to something that might fall over. See, this is definitely a challenging to the balance. Try that again. Yeah, maybe I should be holding on. Forward and down. So it's a lot about focus. Try to focus on pressing into your big toe and looking at something that doesn't move. Coming back down. Okay, see, when I stop talking and I just focus on something, a lot easier to balance. It's like it's so easy to balance when you're moving. When you stop, very hard. A little bit, we'll go into our shoulders now, taking the right arm up. I bring it across. I'm holding the back of my upper arm. And just breathing. A full exhalation is what's going to tell the body to relax. And just to let the muscle let go and get longer. Because basically when we're lifting weights, we're kind of, we're shortening the muscles. So the other side, same thing. Just breathing comfortably. Stretching the back of the arm and the side of the arm, doing all those presses and then just release. And we did the tricep exercises and the shoulder exercises, the shoulder presses. To get a little bit into the front of the arm, I'm just going to take my arms out to the side and spread my arms, drawing my shoulder blades together, lifting my chest up. We'll go into this a little bit more, just to get a little bit more difficult, but you're welcome to stay with this one. To get a little bit more, I'm going to interlock my fingers behind my back, and I lift my chest up, stretching not only the arms that are at the front of the arm, but into the shoulders. Slowly release, and we're gonna do the back of the arm. So I've taken my left arm up. I'm using my right arm. I'm gonna push the muscle up, like I'm trying to bring my hand down my back to get that spot on my upper back. Right? You ever get that spot that's itchy, and you always have to reach for the back scratcher? Well, some people may find these very difficult. Going to the other side. I'm just lengthening the back of the arm by lifting the elbow and pointing it towards the ceiling. My hand slides down my back. Now, the next exercise, I'm going to take my arm around my back. I'm going to grab if I can, grab your opposite elbow. And I'm bringing my hand up the back. If you can reach up high enough, you might feel a bone sticking out of your upper shoulder. That's the shoulder blade. It's technically part of the scapula, not really the shoulder, but they all work together. Then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Again, I take my other arm across and I grab the elbow and I push my arm up the back as much as you can do that comfortably. Everybody's shoulders are different. We're really working into the very, very tight places in the shoulder. And releasing, and let's just circle the arms around. Now we're not using the weights, and should be feeling more comforting and soothing and relaxing on our arms. As I'm going to go a little deeper on this, but right now I'm going to take my right arm, my arms out, and taking my right arm over the left. I'm going to reach around, trying to grab my back. See how my elbows cross over each other? And you can only do this if your elbows come across each other. If one is in front of it, it's not going to work. I'm going to take my arms and I'm going to grab my hands. In any case, if you don't have your hands, you just hugging yourself, try to lift the elbows up. Drop your shoulders down. And releasing, let's do the same thing with the other arm on top. So again, most people may be able to come here. A lot of people are going to find your arms come here. Then you can't take the arms up. I have to get that extra couple of inches. Then I can wrap my arms, lift my elbows, relax my shoulders down. The upper back, between the shoulder blades, what we were looking at before, that's the area. We did that when we did the reverse flies, and very important because that muscle, that area there is going to keep our shoulders from rolling and rounding in. We generally want to be lifting here. The arms roll back, the chest lifts up, but as we get tired, the tendency is to do the opposite, to come here. So you need strength in the upper back to do that. And if somebody wants to go and do the first one and go a little further, I'm going to take my arm around the back and I take my other arm up. You can grab your shirt, your towel, or a band. Maybe some people I know can grab their hands behind their back. We're just going to come here. We're just going to touch and then come right back out. You'll find like one shoulder is a lot different than the other. And we're coming into the end of this, which is really the whole purpose to this. I'm going to roll my arms around. We're going to get into stretching into the neck and into the shoulders too. So I'm just going to gently move my neck. So I'm going to lift my chin up just a little bit. And then I'm going to bring my chin in towards my throat. Be careful not to put my chin into my chest. That's a place that our head should not go in that way. Just because it can, it's not something that you should do. And I'm going to just gently, I'm just going to turn my head from side to side. At no point do we really want to roll your head all the way around. I know you've probably seen a lot of videos or classes where teachers have done that. Again, just because you can, that may not be good. So better than rolling your head is to make a figure 8 with your nose. The neck is not terribly strong in that area of the vertebrae, and go the opposite way. A little bit of tightness and you push yourself, the neck to the limit. That could be it. You might have that, you wake up the next day and you'll have a pain in the neck. So the next one is follow you seem to, again, you just got to go gentle. You want to keep your shoulders down. Remember how we had that thing where you're lifting the shoulder up? You want to keep the shoulders down, but bring your ear towards the shoulder. And then going to the other side. If you're feeling this feels good and all that, you can use your hand to assist it by just gently pressing onto the opposite side of the head or even the ear. Notice how the shoulder wants to lift up. You don't want to do that. And then coming to the other side. Coming up. We'll roll the shoulders a couple more times. So this concludes my basic shoulder routine. There are definitely more shoulder and neck exercises that I do. They're a little bit more challenging, so maybe at a future time we'll do that. But for now, just maybe if you need some, just take a hot shower with your neck or shoulders or sore. And bye-bye. I'll see you next time.